Hello travelers, Boardman21 here, and today's build is a hybrid Shaman. Now we'll be utilizing both melee attacks using Swipe as our main attack, and we'll have spell damage coming in with Avalanche. The reason we're doing this as the Shaman is because it can get 32% increased spell damage and 32% increased melee damage per totem, and we're going to be rocking a lot of totems. You can have anywhere from 15 to 25 of them active at all times. Some of it depends on procs, some of it just depends on how much you want to cast Eterra's Blessing, but either way you can get up to a huge amount. You're talking you can get 600% increased spell damage and 600% increased melee damage, which is going to allow Swipe to do good damage, Avalanche to do good damage, and you're going to be leeching a huge amount of that as life, which is going to increase your survivability. Now this isn't going to go into tank mode. You're not going to be super tanky at all. We are dealing with the Primalist, which doesn't have a whole lot of options for damage reduction other than aspect of the boar and like a 16% damage reduction for nearby enemies, so ranged things are still going to hit you super hard. But we did build in some dodge, so you will be able to beat all of the bosses. You'll be able to go 100 waves in the arena. Again, not super tanky, but it has some fun interactions, so I thought that I would share it with you, and let's get into it. For skills, I'm running Summon Frenzy Totem, Swipe, Summon Thorn Totem, Eterra's Blessing, and Avalanche. For Summon Frenzy Totem, we're going to have this so that when it's cast, it'll automatically be cast right next to you. This will give you a huge boost in critical strike chance. It'll also give you a huge boost in damage, and it's going to give you a huge boost in attack speed thanks to all the attunement stacking that we did on gear. We have 4 points in rapidity for 40% increased effect, on top of the 20% cast speed and attack speed that you normally get, and you benefit from both of those in this build. You'll get a 40% increased effect on that, on top of a 1% increase effect per point of attunement, and we have over 90 points on this build, so you actually get 130% increase effect. That 130% means that you're actually getting much closer to about 45-46% increased cast and attack speed, which is huge, and you can have 100% uptime of the Frenzy Totem. I then have 1 point in Berserker Frenzy. This gives you more crit chance and increased damage. You'll also take a little bit more damage. I only have 1 point there because anything more than 10% more damage taken is going to be a huge amount, as you're already not a tanky player to begin with. 5 points in Grounded gives you a reduced mana cost and 25 global melee physical damage, which is going to help Swipe hit a little bit harder. 1 point in Dig In means that you'll be tethered to it as long as you stay within range, which we have full expanse on the range, so you actually have a pretty big area, and this will give you 100% increased damage of all damage types while you are tethered. 4 points in Totemic Reach increases the tether range by 120%, so it actually takes up a good 3/4 of your screen. And 5 points in Dig Deep gives you an additional 250% critical strike chance while you are tethered, which means that you'll have a much bigger chance of doing a critical strike while you are close to your Frenzy Totem, so you want to stay within range. And there's other benefits you'll get from other things as well, so you definitely want to stay within range of your totems. For Swipe, have this set up so that you get mana back, so that you can be able to cast both Eterra's Blessing and Avalanche and your totems all at once. These kind of get mana heavy, even though they can be relatively cheap outside of Avalanche, but because you'll be casting them quite a bit, you need mana back on Swipe. We also have a chance for Claw Totems, and because we have so much attunement, we have increased damage based on how much attunement you have. So 2 points in Way of the Hunt gives you some more hit damage and some more leech. 3 points in Claws of Stone means that you have a 30% chance to summon a Claw Totem on kill. What's nice about this is you will have a few of these active almost at all times, especially if you kill a whole bunch of mob dense like axe throwers or spiders or anything that pops up, a whole pack of wolves. You're going to get quite a few of these. The nice thing about this, each one of these that you summon gives you an additional 32% melee damage and spell damage, which is going to affect both Swipe and Avalanche and increase your damage even further. 1 point in Avatar of the Wild gives you 4% more damage per point of attunement. Like I said, you have over 90 points in this build. That's a 360% increase in damage, which is really nice. 2 points in Aspect of the Panther will give you up to 40% more global damage. 1 point in Feline Hunter gives you more attack speed. 3 points in Ambush gives you global increased crit chance, which is going to help you get towards that 100%. With this build, the way it's set up, you have about a 75% chance to crit on hit with both your Avalanche and with your swipe hits, which is really nice. And then 2 points in Apex Predator for another 50% global critical multiplier, which is going to make the swipe crits and the Avalanche crits hit much harder. 2 points in Blood Beast, 1 point in Rending so that we can get 3 points in Duality of Nature so that you gain 9 mana every time you hit an enemy with swipe. For Summon Thorn Totem, we have this set up so that you'll get the full 5 Thorn Totems. Every time that it's procced, you'll have 1 idol to proc it so that you'll have almost 100% uptime all the time of it. Now remember, the reason we want this is 5 Thorn Totems is going to give you 160% increased spell damage and melee damage, which is huge. Not to mention that they'll be procced around you every time that they proc, which can help block projectiles, so it has some survivability. And then on top of that, they all spray out their projectiles, which all have 100% chance to poison, which is going to be a little extra damage as well, which is always nice. With it, I have 3 points in Torrent of Thorns for extra projectiles, 2 points in Totemic Wisdom for some mana efficiency. This doesn't matter as you're not actually casting it, so it's cheap anyway. It's actually free, but you do need that to unlock the Venom Tipped Thorns, which give them a 100% chance to poison on hit, and 2 points in Lasting Affliction means you have 30% increased poison duration by poison stacks put on by Thorn Totem. 4 points in Forested Expanse increases the maximum amount of Thorn Totems that you can have. This gives it 100% more mana cost, which is huge, except for the fact that, again, you're proccing it with an idol, so it is actually free. 3 points in Eternal Forest to give them increased duration and health, and 1 point in Grove Mine so that every time it procs, you're actually summoning them all at once. Now, additionally, you can normally have 2 Thorn Totems by default, an additional 4 here would make it 6, and this takes away 1 maximum, so you can have 5 all at once every time it's procced, and they will spawn in a circle around you, or in this case, a ring at the location. For Eterra's Blessing, this is set up so that you can get more totems. So you basically want to hit yourself with it or other totems around you with it. For every totem that you hit that's at high health, you're going to get an additional healing totem. On top of that, it heals both at the beginning and at the end of its duration, which means you actually get 2 healing totems every time that you use Eterra's Blessing, and you can cast it a bunch, so you're going to have 10 to 20 totems just from Eterra's Blessing, which is really nice. On top of that, it's going to make you leech more life with Avalanche, it's going to heal you, the healing totems will heal you, so it has a bunch of benefits, especially if you're staying in a nice knit pack. You can have so many totems around your character that projectiles from outside, unless they pierce, just don't even have a chance of hitting you. 2 points in Ardent Touch, and 2 points in Binding Heal, so that when you use it, even if you're healing totems, at least some of the heal will heal you. 4 points in Improved Blessing increases the healing. This is so that we could unlock Effervescence, which gives Eterra's Blessing healing over time, and then 1 point in Regrowth, so that heals again at the end of its 4-second duration. What's good about that is with 3 points in Ancestral Renewal, you have a 100% chance to summon a healing totem on a high health heal, and then at the same time, because it's healing both at the beginning and at the end again, that means you're getting 2 totems for it. 2 points in Safeguard will give you some elemental and poison resist. This isn't really important, but it does unlock higher up, which is what you need. For Embolden, this gives you 75% more spell damage for your next cast. Avalanche is the only spell that you're casting, so what's nice about that is you'll always have that 75% increased spell damage on Avalanche, as long as you continually cast Eterra's Blessing at least once every 8 seconds in between your Avalanche cast. And 2 points in Lifestream, as long as you've cast Eterra's Blessing in the last 4 seconds, you will get 4 extra % of the spell damage from Avalanche as health. For Avalanche itself, have it set up for some mana efficiency, as it does get a bit mana intensive, and then just for as much hit damage as possible. It's also going to be a cast and forget. 2 points in Explosive Impact gives you 50% more Avalanche and Boulder Impact area. 4 points in Harsh Winter gives it 40% more hit damage, 3 points in Grounding for 45% more hit damage while there's a totem active, which obviously in a totem build like this you're always going to have, and then 1 point in Storm Slide for 10 additional base lightning damage whenever in range of a storm totem, which you will be quite often if not at all times. 1 point in Mountain Peak, 1 point in Precision, and 1 point in Wild Path. Once you get here, Avalanche is no longer a channeled skill, instead it's a cast once every 8 seconds for an increased mana cost. With 4 points in Unyielding Storm, it increases the duration so it'll actually almost last the full 8 seconds, so you can have 100% uptime of Avalanche. 1 point in Hailstorm makes it follow you around instead of being targeted and just going to fall down for 8 seconds wherever it is that you targeted at the time of cast. And 2 points in Naturally Occurring for that mana efficiency. For passives, the first 21 points that you're going to put into the Primalist base class, with 8 points into Natural Attunement, 1 point into Primal Strength, 1 point into Harmony of Blades, 6 points into Survival of the Pack, and 5 points into Tempest Bond. Now some people were wanting me to go with how I would go about this. Obviously in this one you're going to have to work your way up. The most important is you're definitely going to want the dual wielding as soon as possible, as being able to wield 2 weapons is going to increase your damage. After that, the Leech, because you're going to be using Swipe as your melee skill, getting Leech early is going to increase your survivability too. I would definitely put all 21 points in here first, however you could just do 20 and leave 1 point out of Tempest Bond and move on to the Beastmaster. Now, while most of your points are in the Shaman and that is where you're going to master, you want to put at least 6 points in the Beastmaster first. You want 5 points in Ursane Strength and 1 point in Boarheart, just so that you have a chance to get Aspect of the Boar to proc. Now you can put at least 2 points in here to make it to where you could have 100% damage or uptime of it, because it lasts for 2 seconds and it has a 2-second cooldown. If you put all 5 points in here, you can have it last for 5 seconds with a 2-second cooldown, so there's a chance to keep reprocking it while it's active. But getting this damage reduction first is really nice, especially early game as you work your way into mid to late game. In it right now, to finish it off though, you have 7 points in Ursane Strength, 5 points in Boarheart, 1 point in Savagery, 1 point in Ambush, and 6 points in Lamprey Teeth for that 9% melee damage leeches health, which is huge. And then for the Shaman, the reason that I would only recommend putting 5 or 6 points into the Beastmaster first is because you really want to get to the top of the Avalanche, top of the tree for the Shaman as fast as possible, because that's where all the damage is, especially as you get into endgame. For Shaman, we have 8 points in Shamanic Infusion, 1 point in Silent Protector, 5 points in Totemic Fury, 5 points in Ligonian Wrath, 8 points in Earthen Supremacy, 2 points in Windbringer, 5 points in Shattered Heavens, 5 points in Protective Circle, 8 points in Ruin of Awe, 5 points in Dervish, 1 point in Rhythm of Thunder, 8 points in Stormblade, 1 point in Thunder Strike, and 8 points in Ascendant Circle. The most important things that you want to unlock and get to as quickly as possible is the 8 points in Ruin of Awe for the adaptive spell damage that will really help your damage with Avalanche. Then you want the 8 points in Stormblade for the increased melee damage per active totem. This will make Swipe start hitting really hard. And then 8 points in Ascendant Circle for the spell damage per active totem. After that, you can fill in all the other areas. For items and idols, once again, there will be a link to Damit's Planner, which will let you see the blessings, the idols, the gear, the skills, the character sheet. It will let you see all of that and be interactive to where you can change it around depending on what you have or what you want to try. That'll, of course, be in the last Epoch forum post that I do, which will be pinned in a comment below. Now for idols, I'm running a bunch of different type of idols. It really doesn't matter which ones you run. Basically the main one that you want though, make sure you have at least one that has a % chance on hit to summon a Thorn totem. If you have increased cold damage per active totem, that's nice as well, but remember we don't have Avalanche converted to just cold, so it's not like you get a full 20% increased damage out of Avalanche with it. You're actually only getting like half, because half of it's physical and half of it's cold. For our other idols, some nice ones is a % chance to cast an Avalanche build or a nearby enemy on melee attack. If you have a few of those are also really nice. You can get increased spell damage for just having an active totem. You can get increased cast speed for totems, and we have increased critical strike chance for totems as well. So there's some nice options for you to get. For gear, we're wearing one unique. In the offhand, we'll be wearing Tempest Maul, which will give you a huge amount of melee physical damage along with critical strike chance, which is nice. You'll also get added melee lightning damage and spell lightning damage. It also gives strength and attunement. The attunement's nice as we're stacking that, and it gives you negative mana cost for your totems, which are something that you're casting a lot of as well. So this weapon actually works out extremely well. Now the reason I didn't go with two of them is with two of them, Avalanche just becomes really useless and you turn into a melee build, which would work better on the Beastmaster than it would on an Avalanche hybrid build as we're running here. So for this, we are running a dagger instead. We're running a ruin dagger because you get the critical strike chance and you get some adaptive spell damage. What's nice about that is this really allows for you to still get decent to good damage out of Avalanche, and you have increased critical strike chance for both melee and spells. So you have a 5% base for both of those skills, and now you have 8% added between your weapons for both spells and melee, and then on top of that, the Frenzy Totem gives you 250% increased, which takes that 13% that you have for both of those and turns it into 46%, and then swipe when you use it gives you some more, so you can get to about 70 to 80% crit chance even though there's none in the passives or anywhere else on your gear, which is really nice. For the chest, we're running the Rowan armor. We have attunement on it, increased dodge, flat dodge, and increased health. The most important thing you want, just put attunement on everything and make sure that you have at least 4 set necrotic and poison resistance per equipped item with that affix. After that, you can do anything that you want. You do want some void, but you're going to get all of your elemental and all your physical resist just from having totems, so all you need is necrotic, poison, and void. That's all you have to worry about on gear, which opens up a lot of things. Stacking as much attunement is another thing you want because, one, it benefits all of your skills, and it brings down the cost of Eterra's Blessing so that you can cast it a lot more frequently and get a lot more totems out there. For the helm, we have attunement, set necrotic, and poison, increased health, and flat dodge. For the amulet, we have set necrotic, we have increased dodge, flat dodge, and some void resistance. For the rings, we have attunement, we have hybrid leech, dodge, and health. For the belt, set necrotic, increased dodge, increased health, and a hybrid health. For the other ring, attunement, hybrid leech, void resistance, and some dodge rating. Solar embraces, we have some increased critical strike as an implicit, which is nice. We have attunement, hybrid leech, void resistance, and some hybrid health. For the boots, set necrotic, attunement, increased movement speed, and hybrid health. And then for the rating crest, some critical strike multiplier with attunement, hybrid leech, void resistance, and flat health. Alright, for the character sheet, as you can see, we're sitting at about 18% armor, 26% dodge. We don't have very many percentages in our damages. However, all of that increases as we start to get totems. On top of that, we are capped on void, necrotic, and poison. As you'll see, we're very low on elemental and physical, but as we can do here, let's go ahead and put Storm Totem and Frenzy Totem on autocast. Just with the 2 totems that we have here, you can see that we're now capped on elemental. We have 45% physical, and our damages have shot up immensely. So a Frenzy Totem is giving us a huge percentage of damages, especially when we're tethered to it. And then your melee attack speed, as you can see, jumps all the way up to 110%, which is just a huge amount, so you can attack quite quickly. And then you can also see you have 221% critical strike multiplier. That'll increase as you use swipe. You'll get another 50%. And then the big thing is, remember, as you attack, you'll get 5 Thorn Totems, and then if we sit here and we cast Eterra's Blessing and we get some healing totems going, you'll see that our damages start to just pile up here. We have over 900% spell damage there for a minute. Our melee damage was getting quite high. You can go ahead and get those up again. You can see that your spell and melee damages are just jumping quite up. As long as you get quite a few of those before you go in and start attacking with swipe, you'll have your 700, 800, even 1,000% of both of those damages. And when you use Eterra's Blessing and you get all of those totems going, you'll see your physical and your elementals kind of take off, and you have an absolutely ridiculous amount of resistances for shred or pen against you. You don't really have to worry about those 4 types. Alright, for the skill rotation and for how I use it, I like to put the Summon Storm Totem on autocast, as I have here. I also like to do the same thing with Summon Frenzy Totem, and the reason for that is Frenzy Totem, no matter where your mouse is pointed, is always going to be right next to you, which means it doesn't matter how busy you are trying to dodge something, you're going to cast it right next to you. I also like to put Avalanche on autocast, just to not have to worry about it. It'll stop you every 8 seconds to cast. And then once you have that, since we are wearing the Tempest Maul, we're going to have our 4 spirits coming every 15 seconds. And then when we attack the training dummy, you can just unleash some of Eterra's Blessing. Here we are with 20 totems now, and you can attack with swipe, and you can see we're getting 10 to 30k crits, which is just ridiculous. And once we get our Thorn totems procking, which we got going, you can see you do really good damage. You have some good survivability. You're in the middle of all these totems that block projectiles, and you have, like I said, as you cast Eterra's Blessing more, you get your mana back for using swipe, and you're going to have more spell damage, more melee damage. It all kinds of builds up. The resistances are capped, they block the projectiles. It's a really nice combo that you have with everything. Alright, let's go ahead and get into some gameplay.